Welcome back to CarWow 787, the channel where we take you deep into the world of cars that inspire, shock, and leave their mark on automotive history. Today, we're going back in time to talk about a car that blended style, elegance, and affordability in a way few cars ever have, the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. Introduced in the mid-1940s, right after the world had seen its darkest years. This car wasn't just another Volkswagen, it was an icon of post-war design, a rolling sculpture that brought together the engineering of Volkswagen, the craftsmanship of Karmann, and the Italian design flair of Ghia. And even today, decades later, the Karmann Ghia continues to turn heads and win hearts with its timeless beauty. The year was 1945. Europe was recovering from the devastation of World War II, and Volkswagen was still known mainly for its simple, practical Beetle. The Beetle was functional, reliable, and affordable, but it wasn't exactly glamorous. Volkswagen wanted something that could show a different side of the brand, something more stylish, more emotional, and more appealing to people who didn't just want transportation. They wanted a car that felt special. That's when the idea of the Karmann Ghia was born. The formula was genius. Take the proven, reliable Beetle platform and mechanics, and then clothe it in a stunning body designed by the Italian styling house Ghia and hand-built by the German coach builder Karmann. The result was a car that looked like it belonged on the boulevards of Paris or the coastline of Italy, but could be bought and maintained by ordinary people. It was a car that democratized beauty and elegance. The design of the Karmann Ghia was like nothing else Volkswagen had ever done. With smooth, flowing lines, delicate curves, and a low-slung profile, it stood out from the boxy cars of the era. Many said it looked like a miniature Porsche or even a scaled-down Ferrari, but it came at a fraction of the price. The chrome accents, the rounded nose, and the elegant proportions made it feel timeless. And even today, more than 70 years later, it doesn't feel outdated. It feels classic. Let's talk interior inside. The Karmann Ghia wasn't flashy, but it was stylish in its simplicity. It shared much of its interior with the Beetle, but the way it was presented felt more upscale. The dash had clean lines, the seating was low, and the driving position felt sportier than in the Beetle. It was still simple, but it carried an aura of sophistication that the Beetle never had. Now let's talk performance. The Karmann Ghia wasn't built to be a sports car in the traditional sense. Underneath that gorgeous body, it had the same air-cooled flat-4 engine as the Beetle. In 1945, that meant around 25 to 30 horsepower, not much by today's standards, but back then it was enough to get you moving with confidence. The car wasn't about raw speed, it was about the experience. Driving a Karmann Ghia was about feeling connected to the road, enjoying the way it handled corners, and soaking up the admiration from everyone who saw it pass by. And that's where the magic of the Karmann Ghia really lies. It wasn't the fastest, the most powerful, or the most practical car, but it had an emotional appeal that very few cars in history have managed to achieve. Owners loved it because it made them feel good, and because everywhere it went, it turned heads. It was a people's sports car, but with elegance and style that rivaled cars costing far more. Over the years, the Karmann Ghia evolved. Different body styles were introduced, including a coupe and a convertible. Each one carried the same beautiful proportions, and each one became a dream car for people who wanted style without breaking the bank. Volkswagen continued building it for nearly 2 decades, and during that time, it cemented itself as one of the most iconic cars the company ever made. Collectors today still prize the Karmann Ghia, not because it's rare or because it has insane performance, but because it embodies a spirit of design and creativity that feels eternal. It's a car that represents hope and progress after a difficult period in history. It's proof that even in times of rebuilding, people still yearned for beauty, and Volkswagen, Karmann, and Ghia delivered exactly that. Driving a Karmann Ghia today is like stepping into another era. The sound of the air-cooled engine, the feel of the thin steering wheel, and the way the car glides along the road, it all reminds you of a time when driving was simpler, more personal, and more joyful. Enthusiasts often say that the Karmann Ghia isn't just a car, it's an experience. And if you've ever been lucky enough to sit behind the wheel of one, you'll know exactly what they mean. Another fascinating part of the Karmann Ghia's legacy is how it influenced Volkswagen's future. By proving that the company could build something beautiful as well as practical, it set the stage for cars like the Scirocco, the Golf GTI, and even modern VW concepts that continue to blend design and performance. The Karmann Ghia showed Volkswagen that style mattered just as much as engineering, and that lesson shaped the company for decades to come. And let's not forget the cultural impact. The Karmann Ghia appeared in movies, TV shows, and music videos. It was a car associated with freedom, youth, and individuality. It wasn't just transportation, it was a statement about who you were. That's why it became so beloved by artists, musicians, and free thinkers. It wasn't about status, it was about soul. So when we look back at the Karmann Ghia, especially the models that began in the post-war era around 1945, we're not just looking at a car, we're looking at a piece of history, a symbol of how design, engineering, and emotion can come together to create something timeless. Even today, restored Karmann Ghias are among the most cherished classics, and they remind us that sometimes the most impactful cars aren't the ones with the most horsepower, but the ones with the most heart, and that's what makes the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia such a legend. It's a car that continues to inspire car lovers around the world, a car that proved beauty doesn't have to be expensive, and a car that turned Volkswagen into more than just a maker of practical vehicles. It turned them into a brand capable of creating dreams. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the story of the 1945 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. If you enjoyed this journey into automotive history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to CarWow 787, and ring the bell so you never miss another video. Share this with your fellow car lovers and let us know in the comments. If you could drive any classic Volkswagen, would it be the Beetle, the Karmann Ghia, or maybe something else? Until next time, keep your passion for cars alive, because here at CarWow 787, the drive never ends.